Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to My Guitar Breakthrough with JUNO The Artist. I am Matt Ferguson, Director of Artist Relations for the Yamaha Guitar Group.
I'm Dave Miner. I'm a Product Marketing Manager with the Yamaha Guitar Group.
And this is JUNO The Artist, our guest today.
What's up, everyone? I'm JUNO.
Hi, JUNO. Thank you so much for joining us. Can we get started with you telling us a little bit about your background and your journey as a guitarist?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you all so much for having me. Super excited to be here with you. My journey is very interesting, kind of non-conventional. I didn't grow up with B.B. King as my uncle or nothing like that. I just had a normal, experienced childhood, a non-musical life. And after college, graduated and was in the social work field. And I was working at a drug rehab facility for teenagers. And my first client was obsessed with guitar. And so in an attempt to connect with him, I kind of was, pretending to be interested in guitar. And that's literally how I started to play guitar. So in trying to connect with someone else and trying to reach somebody else, I kind of accidentally stumbled across this passion. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's dadgad and there's capos and there's this new world, these words I had never heard. And I was just so interested. And so I just started to dive into the internet, the YouTube world, all the jazz blogs, and just try to soak up as much as I could. And after doing that, I felt so grateful for, just what I had learned and all the things that I soaked up, that I'm like, man, I feel like I have a responsibility now to contribute to this kind of pool of this guitar world of people doing, reviews of products and teaching chords, and what can I add to all these people that know way more than me? And I said, aha, I saw an open lane of R&B soul. And I was like, look, it's a lot of these boys over here teaching Marvin Gaye and Sam Cooke, but I want to see Black people teaching Black music. So I did it. And I started to make videos about just the songs. I was a Motown baby. So I grew up listening to Diana Ross and the Jackson Fives and Sam Cooke and Patti LaBelle and just soul music and India Arie and Music Soul Child. I began to do those lessons, to kind of cater to the communities that I felt like could benefit from learning that music from someone who actually grew up in that culture, and I felt like that was my kind of place in that world. And so I did that. I stayed in that lane, kind of teaching R&B soul guitar. Then I started to do just covers of just my favorite pop songs, Cake by the Ocean, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, Tupac, just all different kinds of stuff, random, no agenda, but just playing guitar, playing nonstop 16 hours a day and being like, posting it and moving on, posted and moving on. Michael Jackson, just diving through different catalogs. I learned how to play guitar from listening to my favorite albums and literally just transposing what I was hearing. Even though I had no knowledge of the theory, it was just so much fun, like just learning my favorite songs. And so from there, I got a call from posting all those videos. I got a call to go on tour with Fifth Harmony, and that was my first professional gig. So I went from playing guitar in my room to now literally playing on a really big professional stage, high level pressure, and gear that I had never even seen yet. So temper, helix, and backline, and all these worlds that I just, as a guitarist, you kind of are a part of. It was just completely foreign, and it was just such an incredible experience because I felt like in just trying to connect with someone, I found this passion, and just loving this passion and exploring it, I expanded that and found a way to express myself and help other artists express themselves. And I'm still doing that now as a guitarist. I'm an artist, I'm a guitarist, and I'm also a guitar instructor. And so my journey as a guitarist continues to evolve, and I'm excited. Even I'll be learning, seeing just like you all, what is next, because I keep getting curveballs that I never saw coming, and that's the fun part of all of this. And it all just came from me just when I had you to myself. You know what I'm saying? They're like, what? We in London because of that? Because I sat in that little room and I really studied the craft. We want stuff so quick now. But there's a process. When you go through a process, you get so much more than what you could have ever imagined. You get life lessons, you get friendships, you get relationships, you learn about yourself. And I've been able to overcome personal obstacles in my life through being able to see it on the guitar and be like, oh, the way that I'm doing that lick, I'm playing sloppy. I need to slow down and I need to put on a metronome. Okay, I need to get a watch and I need to slow down because I'm late all the time. You know what I'm saying? And just like taking these concepts from guitar and applying them to real life. Like, I love that. So that's kind of been my journey so far. I have been so blessed and grateful because let me tell you something. My level up came when I met this man sitting next to you. Matt has been the biggest support as far as gear. It was my biggest insecurity, if I can be honest, because, you know, you're on YouTube watching videos and learning guitar, but that doesn't mean you understand tone and technology and gear. And so just having, you know, the Helix Line 6, it's a lot, but having somebody sit down and you know, really explain to me what is EQ and what is the why, what does that come from, and all these things is really helping me to become empowered and take over my voice and be like, no, this is how I want it to sound. And so it's interesting because I find lately I'm spending less time on the guitar, practicing guitar, and more time trying to like really dial in my tone on the Helix, or like spending hours on a Zoom call because I really want to understand a concept that I feel like is going to make me sound amazing on stage with my own gear. So my journey is evolving. I'm kind of becoming this little tech monster. Can you punch him for me if you reach it? Okay, you can't. Okay, well,
No.
I'll punch him next time I see him because he's got me in this tech world that I never really enjoyed at all. But it makes me feel like I'm evolving to another atmosphere, and I love that. So thank you, Matt, and that's been my journey so far.
Well, that's great. So there's two things. I mean, both your when you got connected with Matt, that kind of pertains to where I want to go next. But also something you said about how you got started playing, you know, just starting to learn the songs you love, and then you wind up like playing major venues like the Staples Center, like the O2, like Madison Square Gardens.
Yeah.
And I had a similar moment like that on a much smaller scale. But the first time that you and I met was at East West Studios in Hollywood for the RevStar, the launch material that we just did. And so it was, you know, very exciting for me to be, you know, hanging out with cool artists all day, but also like, hey, I'm at East West in Hollywood. That's pretty cool. So could you talk a little bit about how you got connected with Matt and with Yamaha?
Yes. So first of all, I grew up on the South Side of Chicago, South Side, if you're listening. And I was obsessed. Everyone was obsessed with hip hop. You know, it was kind of the beginning. This was the 90s. It was the beginning of like, it's like, what is this? And then on the other side, and down in Nashville, there was this CMT Top 20 countdown that I was in this world through my TV of country music. And I was obsessed with Keith Urban and Brad Paisley and Martina McBride and, you know, Montgomery Gentry, and like I was deep in it. And so that was kind of what I loved to listen to as a kid, you know, hip hop and country music. And so fast forward later, completely random, I'm on Instagram and I get a message from someone saying, hey, we have this new guitar series. We're looking for a co-teacher. You know, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. You know, send my email. Found out it was Keith Urban's team reaching out to me on Instagram. And I'm like, oh my God, I literally like grew up, love Keith Urban, love his music. And it was just so surreal to even now just saying it, even though I did it, it's just so surreal because I literally was like glued to his music videos growing up. And even the thought that like the work that I put into my room by myself now led me to being next to someone that I used to watch on TV as a kid. And that was the introduction to us doing this educational program that was Yamaha, Keith Urban, and then me as the co-instructor. That's how it was presented to me. So I met Yamaha and Keith Urban kind of at the same time. And we did the urban guitar, which was, oh my God, it was incredible. We did a shoot down in Nashville. And I mean, when I tell you the level of professionalism, like I had never experienced anything like that. You got to understand, I've been in my room trying to get people to like, comment, share, subscribe. Can I get you some water? You know, you hustling for these subscribers and you hustling to get content, but to walk onto a set and it's just like, whoa, you know, the set sets the tone. You know, and Keith Urban is such an amazing guitar player, and the quality that Yamaha puts into not only their guitars, but the sets, the experience, it just really made me level up and show up different. Like, hold on, I ain't sleeping these weeks because I ain't missing nothing. You know what I'm saying? It was just so cool to teach concepts that a lot of people, you know, with guitar, these concepts are very complex and very difficult. And I felt honored that I could be there to help teach and kind of break these concepts down so that anybody can understand them. And it was so cool to sit next to someone who comes from a totally different world than me, Keith Urban. But at the same time, our worlds are intertwined through music and through guitars and through storytelling. And what I learned through that experience is we really don't come from that different of worlds. We all want the same thing: safety, to be seen, to be heard, to express ourselves. And so the great respect that I have for both Yamaha and Keith Urban doing that project just really humbled me in a way that's like, wow, they think this highly of me, that I need to start appreciating all the little seeds I've planted that led me here. Because sometimes you don't. You respect other people, but then when the people you respect value you, it's just like, pew, you know? So it was such an honor to connect with both teams. And then, to be honest, Yamaha, we just kept going, boy. They're like, look, they got this new Red Star coming out. I'm like, what's that? Because, you know, I always play this. I'm the kind of person, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I play the same guitar every day. I got the same routine, but it's been cool to switch it up and like try different things, because you'll get a different side of yourself if you try on a different guitar. Like, you play different. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes I didn't even realize how emotionally attached I was to my old guitars, and I still play them. But sometimes when you have a fresh guitar, it's like no memories. You ain't done no tours on this. You ain't had no breakups, ain't no teardrops on this guitar, like Taylor Swift said. And it's just kind of like a blank canvas for you to just like paint. And it's still you, but it's a different interpretation. It's a different energy, you know. And so that's been cool. And again, like being on sets, you know, when you're in your room making videos, even now, like, I ain't saying I'm ugly, I'm kind of cute, but like when you got glam on set, and like I'll be like, okay, you know, just really seeing myself in that light, doing something I love, but it's almost like I'm now in the videos that I used to watch on YouTube. Does that make sense?
Totally.
And that's just been so cool. So yeah, that was a big breakthrough for me, because it's showing me that cycle of life, that like, that's why I started making the videos, because I wanted to contribute and plant seeds so that more people could benefit in the same way that I did, you know. So just continuing to do that at a higher level, partnering with Yamaha and partnering with different people to just continue to fulfill my mission and level up each step, you know, it's just dope.
Awesome. Thank you for all of that, Juno. Is there like a specific like guitar breakthrough, like when you learned a specific technique or a song or even just a lick or a scale or something? Is there something that you could share with us that's like, you know, a really noteworthy breakthrough?
Yeah, so two things. One, I clearly remember making the distinct decision that I was not going to learn bar chords. I was just going to use a capo. And if I needed to put it on the 11th fret, that's what I was going to do, okay? And nobody could convince me that that wasn't the best idea ever. And about 3 weeks in, I was like, but I can't do that pinky thing I'm hearing, and I can't do this thing. So I think a huge breakthrough for me, if I can be honest, is when I stopped trying to make it easy for myself, and I just started breaking down complex things in small chunks and being like, look, I want to play bar chords. Maybe I can't play E7 flat 9, G flat, blah, blah, blah. But let me start with something that I can, even if it's just 2 strings, even if it's just the B and the E string, and I'm borrowing those 2 together. That's a start. And I felt I would start to see that, like, okay, if I do that, eventually I can do 3 strings and 4 strings. And now I can do a bar chord in 3 weeks instead of in 3 weeks still being at the same place I was with only being able to use the capo. And that was such a huge breakthrough for me because I took that to my life as well. It's like, what am I kind of trying to make it easy for myself, but I'm stuck because I'm not willing to grow. And, you know, it was just such a breakthrough to be able to expand and not be in the box, because then open chords are beautiful. Like, don't get me wrong. And there's nothing wrong with a capo. Shout out to capos if you're listening. But I think it is a disgrace to limit yourself. That's my opinion. And so that was a breakthrough for me. And another breakthrough, which this is kind of funny. I don't know if I've ever talked about this. I think his name is Dave Weiner or something like that. He had this thing on YouTube called Lick of the Week. And I used to wait like it was like a show or something. And just learning, you'd be surprised, like taking a lick and actually learning it and committing it to memory. And then like finding all the different places you can put that lick. That was a huge game changer for me, because I felt like before then I was kind of just like doodling scales, which a lot of guitar players do. And sometimes you get lucky and you're like, oh, that was dope. But like having a lick to me is almost like having a little bit of a plan. It's not that your plan is inflexible. It's not that you can't adjust. It's not that you might be a little late or a little early, but you do have a plan. And that was a breakthrough for me, of like the idea that even improvising on guitar could be based in some type of structure, which expanded my world instead of limiting it, if that makes sense. And that was a huge breakthrough for me, because I take that now, even like if I hear something, I'm dissecting it in systems that I can understand, as opposed to saying, oh, well, that's too difficult. I'm like, well, what can I understand? And just grab onto that and create something with that. So those were breakthrough moments for me. I also think getting used to traveling with guitars was a big thing, because like I had to get adjusted to that. Like in the beginning, I was just checking my guitar, like, you know, just little things like that. I think being on tour and having to travel and basically set up and sound good anywhere, like that was a huge breakthrough and a huge thing, because sometimes if you're sitting in one room, you might think you're good, but if you have to change in another room, can you sound like that again? You know, so I would say those are some pretty big breakthroughs for me.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing those as well. We have some questions from your fan base. So,
Bugs, what up?
I'm going to start out. I'm going to read you the first question. Okay. As an artist, who has been your biggest inspiration for guitar?
Whew, that's a great question. I want to say something. He doesn't get a lot of credit as much as he should. Wes Montgomery has hugely inspired me. And I'm going to tell you why. That little thumb thing he was doing back, woo! First of all, wasn't nobody doing that. And he played with his thumb faster than I've heard people play with picks. Like his technique, his precision, his accuracy. And I think I can go to many different eras and pick players like that. But I just feel like guys like that who like, they didn't really have like big personalities to where they're like all in your face. But like, if you really dive into their catalog, they were very innovative. And they really started a lot of trends that maybe they don't get credit for, but he really inspired me to just find my own voice. And like, sometimes I do things on the guitar that maybe someone may say, well, don't do that. Like I'll have an engineer say, well, don't slap. And I say, no, you need to find a different mic because I'm going to do this. Like, and I get that confidence from being like, well, Jimi Hendrix did stuff that you really weren't supposed to do. And, you know, as an artist, I'm always trying to find my personal voice. And if I have something in my head that I want to do, I just do it. And I got inspired by guys like Wes Montgomery and even BB King. You know, he wasn't a fast player. He wasn't a shredder, but he never let anybody pressure him into being that. He was what he was. And now that he's not here, he's on our t-shirts and we're all trying to be like him. And I love that. I love people who are not afraid to be themselves. And those 3 guitar players for me were kind of people that inspire me to do the same.
Great answers. All right, here's another question. Is there anything about your career now that you wish you knew from the start?
Oh boy. Yes. You know what? I think I wish I knew in the beginning that all I have to do, this is going to sound so simple. All you have to do is show up and be yourself. Now, you have to be prepared. I'm not talking about that. Yes, you have to learn the craft. You have to do the work and you have to be prepared. But after that, I used to have this like panic attack before I did everything, thinking I needed to do something else besides just my job. And I think that, you know, there's a lot to be said about that. Everyone that I respect, you know, you look at Pharrell, and he's like at the Grammys in jeans and sweats because that's what he felt like doing. And that's him. You know what I'm saying? You look at, you know, different artists like Jay-Z, who's literally growing these dreads out and you know, that's what he wants to do with his hair. And some people got something to say about that, but he doesn't care. It's just like, this is him. And so I feel like sometimes I have this idea in my mind that I have to do something else. And now I'm more internal instead of like looking for external validation. And I wish I knew that in the beginning because I had a lot of anxiety in some of those high pressure situations. And I wish I wasn't focusing on the comments or the fans or the negative press or whatever. I wish that I knew that all I had to do was show up and do my best, and that no matter what you do, there's always going to be negative and there's always going to be positive. So at least I can be comfortable in my own skin because I can't control what's in your head. So, you know, now that I know that, I try my best to be prepared, but I try not to go down a spiral of predicting what other people may be thinking or what other people's expectations are. And I try and just be honest. And if you work with integrity and you show up prepared and you know, that's enough. You don't have to really do anything else, or you don't have to go along with things that aren't comfortable for you, or pretend to be friends with people you really don't like, or go places you don't enjoy to network. You know what I mean? I don't have to do any of that. I have to focus on my craft and my mission and show up feeling good. And that's my responsibility to do that. How do I do that? I meditate, I walk, I drink some water. And that's it. And so that has saved me a lot of anxiety and headaches now because I just show up. I only accept things that I actually want to do, and I show up and give my best, and that's it.
Well, that's kind of what got you where you're at, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be there if people didn't see and value you as yourself. So great. Yes. Another great answer. What has been your favorite project that you have worked on?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I know this is going to sound crazy, but the projects I just did literally 2 days ago. I just did a shoot. Can I talk about it? Can I say the name of it or no?
Let's keep it a little.
Okay, so it's a secret project, but I have started sharing BTS behind the scenes, and I'm telling you, it's nothing compared. I just did a really big project where I'm going to be sharing my story in a way that I never have. Very intimate, very personal. You're going to just see me in a way you've never seen me before. That's all I can share. And the reason why it was my favorite project is because it was literally what I dreamed in my head. And I'm not going to lie, like Yamaha keeps kind of impressing me and surprising me. I always think I'm too much. And usually I am for people too much. But they're always like, that's too much, but let me get back to you. And that's a lot, but we'll see what we can do. And when I tell you, every dream I had in my head, I threw it out. And just sitting there watching, like going all over the city and experiencing not just an interview, but this like iconic, epic thing. It's hard because I can't say details, but it's really cool when you have an idea in your head and it happens higher than that. Does that make sense? And so, to be honest, every project I keep doing is my favorite project. If you catch me in 2 days, the one I'm working on then is going to be my favorite project because everything I just learned from that project, I'm bringing with me to that project. Because You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. Like I got to just keep going higher and higher. So working with top-notch professionals who see you, who value you, like I promise you, there's nothing better than that. And I'm so grateful, but I'm also fully aware that like this is my time and this is my opportunity to use my voice in all the ways I dreamed and imagined. We can be in our heads all day, but it's like, you got to leave your house and show up and do it. And I got to do that this last weekend, and it was a dream, an absolute dream.
Awesome.
So follow me, keep up with me, because I'm sharing some juicy behind the scenes. I'm talking about juicy.
They are. We've only got a little bit more time, so maybe we have room for one more question.
Okay.
It's actually two questions. Do you practice every day? And what do you practice?
That's a great question. Wow. I don't practice every day anymore on guitar because I know that's what people think I do. I used to practice 16 hours a day. And let me tell you what I learned. There are seasons. The season that I'm in right now is I'm looking for ways to use what I've practiced and what I've learned. I have spent so much time in that room that me and the spiders are best friends. You understand what I'm telling you? Okay. I don't need to be locked up in that room doing Dorian no more. I done it. Now I want to go on stage and I want to see how Dorian may affect this girl that's looking at me right there. I want to see how C major 7 can help me tell my story to my grandma because she don't feel good right now. So I don't sit in a room just practicing guitar all day. I'm practicing how to use the guitar to connect with people, what service the guitar may be able to serve in the world. Because like when I see kids who ain't got nothing to do, I'll be like, try this. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's like my little cousin. And I'm present with that. I used to be in the back room just practicing while everybody else was having Thanksgiving, Christmas, and birthdays. And now, if I can be honest, I'm like, I'm coming out of my room and bringing the guitar and being like, maybe I can play a little song that the family can all groove to. And that just feels more meaningful for me instead of sitting in a room shredding. Now, please don't play this clip back because I might be back sitting in that room shredding again in November. But the season I'm in right now, honestly, is, and it's beautiful. I'm genuinely trying to say like, okay, now what? What do I do with that? Because we're not going to always be here. I don't want to just die with a bunch of scales in my head. I want to have used it to do something with better. I don't know. So I'll I'll let you know when I find it, but that's what I'm doing. And I do practice every day. You know, I run JUNO's Guitar Bootcamp, which is a guitar school over Zoom right now. And so sometimes I'm working on curriculum, or sometimes I'm watching other people teach to see what can I do differently, or what did they do really well that I can borrow? Or sometimes I'm, you know, on a set doing a photo shoot and I'm preparing for that, you know? So again, I understand that if I show up feeling good, looking amazing at a shoot, and I can give this bomb energy that's going to come through the camera, that's my job that day, because somebody's going to see that, and that I don't know what that's going to do to them. So if I can be honest, I've expanded my world to realizing, shocker what I'm about to say, there are more important things than just sitting in my room and practicing guitar all day. I can use what I got in that room, come out of the room, and there's a whole world that enjoys what I got from that room, enjoys experiencing it with me. And I still sometimes dip off in the corner and be like, but then I come back. So I hope that answers your question. Yes, I practice, but it's different. It's not me. It's not just the technicalities of guitar. Sometimes I spend a whole day. Yesterday, I literally spent a whole day working on tone. I'm like, me and this helix got to figure this out. So I'm like, trying to, you know, I want to do a delay. I want to do a different delay. And, you know, just, that's not practicing guitar, but isn't it? Doesn't it make me a better guitarist? Doesn't it make me a better artist? I had to expand what the definition of great was. It's balanced and it's well-rounded. So that's what I spend every day doing, and it looks different every single day.
Wow, that was a great answer. And this has been a great hang with you, Juno. I just want to thank you so much for making the time, and thanks to everybody who's watching the live stream right now. And oh, look at that.
Yes, I know. Do you remember Trolls?
I do remember Trolls.
It's cute. Thank you all so much for having me, seriously. And I just personally want to say thank you to Yamaha, to everybody that's watching, that's been supporting me. I'm so grateful for the level up in my life. You can't miss it. I mean, it's obvious that, you know, I'm growing and evolving, and I didn't do that by myself. I've had amazing, amazing support. So I just want to thank everybody. If you're listening to this, you know, for just hanging there with me and being by my side, it means the world. Stay tuned for some new music because it's coming at you. That's all it's coming. That's all I'm gonna say. We out?
All right. Take it easy. We'll talk soon, Juno.
Bye.